rev up other people's engines. Oh wait, we got a misfire somewhere. Being taken. Yeah. Hello everybody, good day to you. Welcome back. Glad you guys are here. I know, I'm super glad to be here. In this episode, we are going to return to this 1998 Ford Mustang GT with a 4.6 liter V8. This particular Mustang has approximately only 47,358 miles on the odometer. In the last episode, we refreshed the front steering gear bushings. They had become soft and squishy because the oil filter, when the oil filters were changed, it had caused leaks, and those leaks had run down onto the bushing, softened up the rubber, and made the steering squishy. Additionally, prior to that, we had found that the ball joints were sticking, causing a binding condition with the front suspension. Now that we have the maintenance out of the way, we're gonna focus on something a little bit more performance oriented. So I've had a bunch of deliveries show up this week while we were kind of waiting in limbo. Let's go fetch the rolly cart. Let's go to the shelf, pick up the parts, get everything unboxed, and see what we're working with today. Because it's time to make some extra horsepower. Let's just scooch this thing out and head on over to our parts shelf. Pay no regard to this Mustang. We do have dueling Mustangs in the shop, but that one's waiting approval. This one's good to go, so let's get started. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Parts shelf is over yonder. Just past the filter. There we go. Okay, let's get everything laid out on our table here. We'll head over to the Stang. First on our list, got some Motorcraft spark plugs. Platinums. To go with those plugs, we've got some 9mm heavy gauge spark plug wires. We have performance distributors. What's in here? I don't know. Ignition coils? It says ignition systems. I think that might be coils. We've got a BBK large bore throttle body. Guaranteed 2 to 15 horsepowers. Okay, so that guy's going on. And to go with it, looks like we have a BBK. None of this is sponsored. That's just what my guy bought. A BBK induction air system. Alrighty, so a bunch of intake and ignition components. Let's head over to the Stang, get this stuff set up, unboxed and prepped. So stay tuned, because this is gonna be a very good high horsepower video. Opening the hood. Yeah, here's our brake rotor. There was our brake rotor. Alrighty, I've got all the goodies unpacked and we'll go through it. So we've got Motorcraft spark plugs, we've got some 9mm Ford Racing branded wires, not sponsored. Looks like we have some performance ignition coils. There's one coil pack for each side on the engine. My guy got us a BBK throttle body intake. I think that's a big bore throttle body. We've got an intake tube and high flow filter to go with it with some chrome bracketry. This is part of the intake assembly. We have intake hardware, all the hardware for the throttle body. Don't know what those are, but we'll figure it out. So let's go ahead and move on over to our engine. We'll start stripping her down, and then we'll go through systematically and get all this performance stuff installed. All right, so I'm not exactly certain on my plan of the order of operations that we're gonna take here, but I do know that a lot of these parts are coming off and they're not going back on. So that's gonna start with our air filter and our air filter housing and its box. So we're gonna start to pull all this stuff out of here. I believe the mass airflow sensor, which is right here, and the intake air temp sensor, which is the one I just unplugged there, I believe those have to be transferred over to the new intake. I don't think it came with new components. So let's get everything stripped apart and then set aside, and we'll start to do some comparisons once it's all torn down, and we'll see what parts have to be transferred over to our new components and which ones do not. Pretty sure we're not gonna need this anymore. Let's get our old filter out. Not bad. Get rid of you, and this air box comes out as well. Nasty. All right, now seeing as how we've got a lot of access to our throttle body here, I see no reason to not get this thing disconnected and prepped for removal because it is being replaced. Let's see. We gotta get, what else has to happen here? Hang on, I'm scoping the scene out. I'm not sure what we're doing yet, but I'll figure it out. Here, we can unplug the EGR. That's gonna go over there. We've got a PCV hose right here. Let's get rid of that guy. We'll unplug you. Looks like we've got a couple vacuum lines right here. That's for the HVAC system inside, I believe. We'll unplug that. And on the back side, we have throttle linkage. So here, let's move around over here. Let's see how we're supposed to get this stuff apart. So we've got, how's that one snap on? I think it just snaps, yep, that just snaps right on. And we can push it through by depressing these little tabs right here. I just tore my glove. There we go, there's one cable. And then this next cable, how's this gonna work out? I think that one wraps around, yes it does. That wraps around, we'll turn it, slide it through that little notch. That side is free, and then again with the little plastic clips, or tabs, or whatever. Push that in, come here you. And then pull that cable through as well. So we've got mostly everything disconnected. Here is a vacuum line right here. Let's wiggle that guy out. That goes right there. So now we may, I think it's ready to unbolt. Looks like we've got just 4 bolts. All right, coming in, mini impacts. Oh, whoa, 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 hang on, epic fail, right? The EGR, I've got to disconnect the EGR. Unclickage. There's one. There we go. Dong. Okay, 2 more throttle body bolts to go. There's that one. And, or never mind, that's 3 more to go. That one. Numero 4. All right, so the throttle body should be disconnected from the intake manifold. Negative, there's one more straggler. Look at that one. Yeah. And that one's not even tight. Oh, it's a friggin' wood screw. What is this? That doesn't even go there. Anyway, throttle body has been disconnected. Pull this guy out. Let's give it a quick side-by-side with our replacement unit. It's a massively huge difference in diameter. Look at that. I can put one throttle body, like almost in, yeah, inside another throttle body. Yep, that's 78 millimeters. This is not. Okay. How does our linkage seem to compare? We've got a space for throttle position sensor, idle air control motor, EGR back on this side. We've got an outlet port right there. There's a port, brackets for the spring that has to be transferred over. Yeah, it looks like everything's here. This should work, no problem. Little clip, there's a clip, and then the place for our other cable to ride right here. Okay, this one passes the fitment check. Alrighty, so we have all of the factory support equipment transferred over, including the vacuum lines, which had to be slightly modified to fit that idle air control. But we have everything transferred over. This thing will be ready to go back on as soon as the vehicle is ready for it to go back on. What I mean by that is I need to go ahead and get those ignition components removed first. The throttle body hangs out like right about here. We've got a spark plug here, which is kind of hard to get to, and another one here, which will be a little hard to get to. So let's go ahead and pop these plugs out, get the new ones swapped in real quick. That'll give us a moment to inspect them, and then once those guys are changed out, we can go ahead and get that throttle body bolted back into place. So when we pulled that boot out, look, a bunch of sand came out with it, and that's moderately concerning. I don't want to get sand into our engine, so I'm just gonna grab the air gun real quick and we're gonna blow this sand out of here, and then we can pull those plugs out. Slight detour, incoming air gun, it's dead. Oh no! What's going on here? Oh no, no pressure! Look at that. So what's going on here? Oh no, the breaker tripped, look at that. There we go. All right, we have air pressure. Let's try this again. Goodbye, sand. There, now that that's handled, now we may pull these spark plugs out. Let's knock this out real quick, like, we'll change out the wires while we're here. There's one of our old units. It's an Autolite. Gross. I definitely agree that the Motorcraft are an improvement in spark plugs over those Autolites. But Autolites aren't horrible, they're just kind of cheapo. Plug click. All right, there's one. I'm just gonna set that down in there for now. We're gonna go back in a moment and go through the wires, change those out too. Ooh, I pulled a injector wire, oops. Came off by accident, unclipped, those are tight. Next one out. Next one in. Swapping them out. Down in your home you go. Let's get her started. Run her down. Tighten her up. Okay. All right, that one's just gonna drop in. Next. Oh, come here. Reverse our ratchet. Dropping it in, screwing it in, threading it in, threading it down, and torque applied. Okay, that's 3. Let's get that last one out of there. Come here, wire. Down in the abyss of engine components, past the heater hoses, past the throttle, or the fuel pressure regulator throttle. Come on out. All right, plug number 4 going in, down in the hole. It's at the bottom, threading. Let's make her tight. Clickage. There we go. All right, that's 4 plugs. Let's get our corresponding wires replaced. All right, so when it comes to these spark plug wires, 2 wires are attached to this coil and the other 2 are attached to the other coil on the other side. So what we do here is we're gonna take off our little retainers, set these aside. Those are gonna be reused. They're just here to keep the wires organized and in a nice bundle. That way they're not just flopping around all willy-nilly like. So here are the 2 wires that go over to the coil on the driver's side. We're gonna lay those over and we're just gonna focus on this coil right here and these 4 wires. We're gonna go ahead and unbolt the coil from its bracket. 4 bolts. clickages. Come out, bolts. There we go. Okay, that's all 4 of those guys removed. Bolts in hand. I'm going to set those aside. And we're going to pick our coil up, swap it out with our replacement, and then our bolts go back in same positions here. And our plug can go back on too while we're here. There we go. Let's get these guys tight. Okay, so the 2 wires that go to the driver's side coil, those are gonna stay over and out of the way. And we're only gonna disconnect these one at a time so we can match them up with their replacement. So here is our shortest wire. That's the one that's gonna replace. This wire goes on that coil, which is now this wire on this coil. Let's go ahead and get her plugged in. We're clicked into place, right like so. Are we on? Yipper. So now this one is going to run under and into our first cylinder right here. But not without a little bit of dielectric first. Squeeze that in there. And we can go ahead and get this one all the way down in position and plugged into the spark plug. Just like so. All right, next wire, second longest. That's in the upper right corner of the coil. Let's swap this one out. Next cylinder, give it some lube. Right there, over and down onto our spark plug. Push her down and snap it in, and then we'll run our coil wire right up here to the upper right hand corner position. Just like so. We still have 2 more wires to go. Those are the longest wires. However, they are running across and coming over here to our second coil, which is on the driver's side. So now let us unbolt this one, bolt the new one on, and then we will swap over that second or third and fourth wire on the passenger side. I know we're flipping back and forth a lot. That's just kind of how this particular little design is, but it can be done efficiently. Okay, let's get this guy unbolted. Next. I can barely reach these without an extension. Barely. Pick this one up, set it aside. New one coming in, we'll set her down, bolt it in. Can't forget our little electronic noise suppressor. I heard it hit the ground. No worries, I'll get it. Haha, found you. I got it. There she is. And our little bracket right here, that goes in. And we can go ahead and connect this. Trigger control. Very good. Okay, 2 coils mounted. So our remaining 2 wires are these longer ones here. Let's get rid of these wire bundle devices real quick. We'll disconnect those, set them all aside. I don't know if these are actually reusable because these wires are of a smaller diameter than the replacement wires. So the replacement wires might not fit inside of these things. Might have to do the temporary zip tie mod to make this work. And then find the appropriate size brackets and then change them out later. Perhaps, maybe. So let's see. This one's the longest one. Runs right here, and connects to the lower left-hand corner of the new coil. So we'll disconnect it so it's kind of marked. We'll plug her in right there. Okay, longest wire coming in. Let's connect you right here, lower left-hand corner of the coil. And I'm gonna do my best to follow the same factory run. We can adjust it later if need be, but we're just gonna go up, and over and then back. So let's see, this is the one that came all the way to the farthest plug in the rear. Let's give that some grease. And we're going under here. We went under that one. So I'd like to go under the rest of these as well. I want to tuck this stuff away as best as possible so it looks good. All right, next wire that was in cylinder 1, 2, cylinder number 3. Let's get this guy detached, followed back, and that's gonna go into the upper right-hand corner of this coil, right there in that position. Disconnect you, gravity. Disconnect that guy, we'll match it up, plug it in. Begin installing lubricant, get in there. Inject lubricant now. All right, and this one's going to plug in under, right there, around and through. It's like tying your shoes, but with horsepower. Okay, now I'm gonna follow this other wire that crossed over. We're not gonna wrap it around, we're just gonna follow it over, route it properly, like so. And we can clean this up in a little while. We just want to make sure everything's plugged in and routed correctly. So that one goes right there. We're gonna pluck this one out right here. That's cylinder 5, and then next one back is, okay, 2 more wires, 2 more squirts. They're nearly the same length, but if we trace them out, we've got one a little longer than the other. We'll do the longest one first. And it looks like number 5 is the longest one, so let's get that one kind of started. It's gonna run over and it's going to connect to our coil. It's gonna be all over. It's gonna connect to our coil right here in position number 5. Yep, so that one goes right there. Come on. The fitment's not the greatest on these. I'm gonna have to zip tie these clamps on. See how that one came off? Yeah, they keep wanting to come up, so I need to zip tie the bottom of these to hold them in position later. So this one's gonna run up, over, and around, and it goes right here. All right, our wire for cylinder 6 is ready to go in. Let's run her through. I'm not plugging it in, I'm just dropping them in the hole because I still need to change those plugs. But what we're trying to do here is just get this set up so it looks good. And that one runs through. That's actually looking pretty good so far. Okay, so we're getting pretty close to having the plugs and wires completed. Let's go ahead and pull the rest of these wires out real quick, and we'll blow these holes out and change the plugs real fast. That way we can finalize this section of the repair. Remember, that one goes there. I'll leave that one in there for right now, number 5. We'll leave that open, but air there. All right, plugs coming out. They're all gonna come out at one time, then they're all gonna go in at another time. We already saw these come out once. I don't wanna waste a bunch of valuable viewer time on stuff we've already seen. That's just counterproductive and inefficient. Get that one. Well, we'll do a set of 3. And then we'll do the straggler. I do that so it's not really possible to mix up ignition wires. Yeah, there we go. Uh-oh, socket fell off. Come here, socket. All right, that's all 3 of them out. Good. So now we do 3 of them back in. Fit that in the socket. It's a tight squeeze. Thread it, tighten it, torque it, repeat it, pull it, plug it, wiggle it, jiggle it, insert it, thread it, tighten it, torque it more, pull it, unclick it. I'm a robot. Insert it, stick it, twist it. Let's getting old. There we go. Okay. So we know that one's already set. Let's lube the plug. Plug that one in. That's cylinder 6. Now we can unplug this one here. Swap that spark plug out. That'll complete the plug installation slash swapping over procedure. Get that one out. Okay. Again, another auto light. In there. Be careful not to drop those in the hole. If they land on the end of the plug, you can close the gap.
Gross. Sorry for the nasty glove sweat on your car.
That one's tight. Lubricant. And slip you right down in there. Give it a twist to take up some slack. And plug it in. Okay, 2 more wires to change out. This one went all the way in the back, so we'll get that one next. And that one attaches to the right rear towards us corner. So we're gonna disconnect that. Now we're marked, we know where it goes. Well, we're unmarked actually. We're like the opposite of marked. The antithesis of marked. Take that, move it over. This one goes right here on that pole of the coil. And we're gonna run it so it's clean. We're gonna go under this wire harness into our wire holders and then back down into the spark plug. There, that's in. Last one right here, and that is our upper left position. Pull that out. Give it some lubricant. Did I lube that last one? I don't remember. Anyway, that one's going right here. Following the same path, under here, and right there on our coil. And all we need to do is secure these with some zip ties and straighten up these wires here. Make it nice and pretty. Okie dokes. So while you guys were not looking, I zip tied these connectors into position here. There we go. So those things are permanently affixed-ish, and they're not going to go anywhere. We've got all of the little wire connector organizer devices. Those are in position. Everybody's staked on. It's all zip tied into place. It looks good. We could probably stand to tuck these back a little bit better later on, but so far so good. Let's go ahead and get that throttle body back in position on the intake manifold. So what we're gonna need to do here is pull out our towel, wipe that gasket clean. That thing looks pretty good. It's not smashed or anything, and I don't have another one, so we're reusing that. We'll take this guy, set her in position right here, like so, and we'll get the bolts set up and we can torque this unit down. There's one. Next fastener. Where'd that one go? How about in the back right there? There we go. That one can go there. Next one. Where do we put you? How about down right in there? Drop that one down. And then number 4. Right there. Okay, let's get some torque action on these units. Where's that thing at? There it is. Something's not right. The throttle body's not supposed to come up when you tighten it. What has happened here? I don't know, but I don't like it. Does that bolt not fit in the hole? I don't think it does. Maybe I need to use their fasteners and not mine. All right. Yeah. So it looks like I can't use these stock ones on these front feet. Same on that other side there. It runs into the body of the housing here. Let's pull that back out. But I can reuse the back ones, so I will, because those are probably better than these little guys right here. They weigh more. All right, let's try this again. Throttle body going in, 2 bolts, and then 2 others from the box. Here we've got one of those going down right there with its hex bit to drive it in. Is that threading? Yes it is. And this next one right there in the back. Get that one threaded on. Good. All right, trying again. Let's tighten this thing down. Look, the table is becoming empty. We're running out of parts. Clicks. Next. That's good. Now for the 2 8mm. Swap you back out. Very nice. Okay, let's get a few things connected here. Clean this mess up a little bit. It's a wiring connector mess. I'd like to undo that. It's idle air control. This one, that's a vacuum line that goes right there. And then this guy, more vacuum lines. Those go there. Got the big one out back. Plug you in. And we can go ahead and get our throttle cables and all that good stuff reattached as well. Push that one through. This one gets wrapped around it. Go on down there, please. What are you doing? Carefully. Please go in there. Oh no. It doesn't fit. Well, it does, but that's a tight squeeze right there. See that? It doesn't want to go in. Pliers. Pliers for the win. If I can move it around, push. There we go. It goes right in almost. There. That's how we go. So now that wraps around. That's correct. Let's get this last cable on. This is the cruise control cable that snaps on right there. Okay, last but not least, we have the EGR. That's a new gasket. The old one has already been removed from the side of the EGR right here. So let's didn't even need to unplug that, but let's plug our vacuum line back in. We'll stick our fasteners through the EGR valve and then slide the gasket over those bolts right through the holes there. You can take it, push it in, line it up, thread them down, and then apply torque action. There we go. All right, let's get these last 2 bolts right here tight, and then we'll throw that intake together. And we can fire this thing up. Get in there. But I can't use these bolts. They don't bottom out. Look at that. All right, well, it appears now we have to improvise this situation. These holes are not short enough. I do not have bolts suitable for the EGR with this kit. So I need to use these bolts, but they need to not be as long. So rather than cutting them off, I'm just going to space them out with some washers. That should be fine. Let's try 2. We'll do 2 washers, 1 on each side, and see what happens, or 2 and 2 on each side, and then see what happens. It's either gonna work or it's not. And that did work. Clickage. Okay, That one's good. Let's spin that other one out. Give that thing some washers. And then torque that one down. And at that point, we can throw the intake back together real quick like, and see how this thing sounds. I imagine with that big throttle body and the intake, it's gonna sound a lot better. It should be more throatier kick. So this little piece right here, it's got this grommet on it, and that grommet is going to bolt onto the fender in the same location as the factory air cleaner. So we need to slip this filter into that fender. That goes in the hole. That's a tight squeeze. It doesn't seem to want to fit in there. That's our first little snafu. Here, let's take this off. Set that thing aside and try again. What's his problem? It's just a real tight squeeze here. No worries. Just shove it on in there like that. There. That's in. Next, let's take our intermediate pipe here and get this thing refitted. Let's get this clamp tight. Okay, we can plug in some stuff, I guess. This appears to be the permanent position. That goes there. And then up at the throttle body, we've got one other clamp right here. Uh-oh. It is unclamped. Get in there. Get in there, clamp. What are we doing? Fail. Clamp, fail. There it goes. Came all the way unthreaded. Okay, that's secure and tight. This is secure and tight. That one, 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 and that. Okay, so now all that's left is some of this plumbing action we have here. That guy goes there. We need to extend this hose some. That's not going to stay. Then we have one PCV hose that goes over to the other valve cover, and this came with the kit. So I'm assuming that's the extension to put this piece in. That hose doesn't exactly fit the greatest. Yeah, this is where the fitment part kind of falls short because they used standard size hoses for non-standard applications. All right, so I think we're good on this this tune-up / performance upgrade. Let's go hit the key and start the engine. Let's see if this thing sounds, well, let's just see how it sounds. I don't know if it's going to sound any different, or if it's going to sound the same, if it's going to sound throaty, and I don't know if it's going to perform any different, but well, we'll see. At least it's shiny, right? Beginning engine starting sequence now. How we doing here? Misfires, nada. I don't hear any ticking. Oh wait, we got a misfire somewhere. Seems ticking. Yeah, I must have a plug wire backwards. Time to recheck. It definitely feels a little throatier. Nice throttle response. This thing's good to go. All right, we're good with this. Looking pretty. No misfires, no spark leaking, no high idle, no vacuum leaks. I need to touch this up a little bit and do a little bit of work with some hoses. But other than that, this section of this improvement is complete. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead, close this video out right now. We do have more work to do on this car, but that's gonna be the next phase. We have completed phase, I'm gonna call this phase 2. We've completed phase 2, we'll be on to phase 3. In the phase 2, we've worked on intake and ignition, and in the next phase, we're gonna work on exhaust. So we can see over here, I've got a ginormous box with some exhaust parts, but we're gonna have to save that one for next time. So that being said, as always, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. Certainly hope you enjoyed this performance video on this Mustang. If you did enjoy this video, please feel free to let me know about that in the comment section down below. Do not forget to tap that like button while you're down there, and most importantly, have yourself a fantastic day. In the video, in the Mustang, powering down.